Yes, Prabhu. I think he has started live streaming.
All right. So sorry for that break in transmission. That is the nature of material world. Nothing is sure. No matter how much you plan, things will fail somewhere. All right. We stopped at. Can we go on now?
Yeah, we can go.
Yes.
I thought it was from my own end.
No, it was a general problem.
Okay.
All right. We were on this point where the chapter is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. And part 2 contains text. Part 1 contains text 1 to 13 and 14 to 20. Preparation for war and indication for victory. Then part 2 is Arjun's doubts and Krishna as Bhakta Vatsala. So we'll start with text 1. And text 1 is the opening text of the Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
So you can see that how to study Bhagavad Gita is by disclosing your mind. Okay? They have started for war, and then Dhritarashtra is aware that there will be war, but he had certain deficiencies. And deficiency is also visible in his son, Duryodhana. So please, if you have your book open to Bhagavad Gita chapter 1, text 1, let us start from there.
Yeah, well, I am there.
All right, so start the reading. Apuva Prabhu. Read the, okay,
right.
I'll read the text. I'll read the text, you read the translation, and somebody else will start the purport.
Sanskrit.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha. If we all read together, it will be nice, but our speed and wave of our Wi-Fi is not same. Some people will be speaking before, some will be speaking behind. So let me read, and then you read the translation.
Okay, Prabhu.
Observing the army on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Sloka 1. Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dama Chetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyuksabha Mama Ka Pandavas Chaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya.
Dhritarashtra said, O Sanjaya, after my sons and the sons of Pandu assembled in the place of pilgrimage at Kurukshetra, desiring to fight, what did they do?
Very good. Thank you. Ananga Mohini Mataji, please start the first paragraph of the purport. Actually, read first and second paragraph. Ananga Mohini. Hare Krishna.
Yes,
welcome for today.
Purport. Bhagavad Gita is a widely read theistic science summarized in the Gita Mahatmya.
Continue.
Glorification of the Gita. There it says that one should read Bhagavad Gita very scrutinizingly with the help of a person who is a devotee of Sri Krishna and try to understand it without personally motivated interpretation. The example of clear understanding is there in the Bhagavad Gita itself, in the way the teaching is understood by Arjuna, who heard the Gita directly from the Lord. If someone is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita in that line of discipline succession without motivated interpretation, then he surpasses all studies of the Vedic wisdom and all scripture of the world. One will find in the Bhagavad Gita all that is contained in other scriptures, but the reader will also find things which are not to be found or elsewhere. That is the specific standard of the Gita. It is a perfect textile science because it is directly spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna.
Thank you. You can stop. So from these two paragraphs, you can see that the Dhritarashtra himself is doing exactly what is recommended here. He's making inquiries from somebody who knows. He's not asking just anybody specific. So for you to know, you must ask somebody who knows. And secondly, what we are reading about the glorification of Bhagavad Gita yesterday, towards the ending of Gita Mahatmya, the end of the translation, it makes mention Gita Sugita Katavya Kimanyai Sastra Visarai Yaswayam Padmanabhasya Mukha Padma Vinisrita. Because Bhagavad Gita is spoken by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one need not read any other Vedic literature. There are many aspects of Vedic literature, and so one will be in doubt. How can I read all? And I made reference that in Bhagavatam 1:1:11, the sages were asking, give us the essence of all the scripture. And here it makes us know that Bhagavad Gita is the juice of all the Vedic scripture. Essence. Why? Krishna compressed it and gave what is necessary. Otherwise, you will spend many lifetimes studying all the different Puranas, different Upanishads, Itihasa, so many. And you may not be able to fulfill in one lifetime. So Krishna has spoken that one need only attentively and regularly hear and read Bhagavad Gita. In the present age, people are so absorbed in mundane activity that it is not possible for them to read all the Vedic literature. But this is not necessary. This one book, Bhagavad Gita, will suffice because it is the essence of all the Vedic literature. So that's the reference we are making from that. In Bhagavad Gita, you will find all that is contained in other scriptures. You will also find things that is not in any other scripture. So it's not that other scriptures are wrong or we are claiming that ours is the best. No, it's just a matter of scope. Bhagavad Gita and the Vedic scripture is copious, that you find so many things that is not anywhere else. And the first point made here, theistic science. What does theistic mean? We have a theistic, we have theistic. Theistic means personalized. It's not impersonal. So Krishna is speaking it, and Krishna said in 15:15, Vedaischa aham eva vedyo, Vedanta krit veda videva chaham. I am the compiler of the Vedantas. I am the knower of the Veda, and I am to be known by the Vedas. So you will know Krishna if you read Bhagavad Gita. And if you don't know Krishna after reading Bhagavad Gita, you have not achieved the goal. Okay? So, purport number 3 and 4. Go, Jamasami Uboboako, read for us.
The purport, right?
Yes. After where she stopped, the topic discussed.
Okay. The topic discussed by Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya, as described in the Mahabharata, form the basic principle for this great philosophy. It is understood that this philosophy evolved on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, which is a sacred place of pilgrimage from the immemorial time of the Vedic age. It was spoken by the Lord when he was present personally on this planet for the guidance of mankind. The word Dharma Chetra, a place where religious rituals are performed, is significant because on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present on the side of Arjuna. Dhritarashtra, the father of the Kurus, was highly doubtful about the possibility of his son's ultimate victory. In his doubt, he inquired from his secretary, Sanjaya, what did they do? He was confident that both his sons and the sons of his younger brothers, Pandu, were assembled in that field of Kurukshetra for a determined engagement of the war. Still, his inquiry is significant. He did not want a compromise between the cousins and brothers, and he wanted to be sure that the fate of his sons on the battlefield, because the battle was arranged to be fought at Kurukshetra, which is mentioned elsewhere in the Vedas as a place of worship, even for the denizens of heaven. Dhritarashtra became very fearful because the influence of the holy place on the outcome of the battle. He knew very well that this would influence Arjun and the sons of Pandu favorably, because by nature they were all virtuous. Sanjaya was a student of Vyasa, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjaya was able to envision the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Meanwhile,
We are not hearing you.
and so Dhritarashtra asked him about the situation on the battlefield.
To conclude the paragraph, the remaining paragraph, so we can make inputs. Both the Pandavas. Continue. Continue. Oh, we lost you? Okay. Apurva Prabhu, continue the last paragraph, please.
Okay. Both the Pandavas and the sons of the Dhritarashtra belong to the same family, but the Dhritarashtra's mind is disclosed herein. He deliberately claimed only his sons of Kurus, and he separated the sons of Pandu from the family heritage. One can thus understand the specific Dhritarashtra in his relationship with his nephews, the sons of Pandu. As in the paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken away, so it is expected from the very beginning of these topics that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion, Sri Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like the Dhritarashtra's son Duryodhana and others would be wiped out, and the thoroughly religious persons headed by Yudhishthira would be established by the Lord. This is the significance of the words Dharma Kshetra and Kurukshetra, apart from their historical and Vedic importance.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So you can all see that Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, but he already knew that they will fight. They assembled there to fight. So Srila Vishwanath Chakrabarti Thakur mentioned in the same explanation, speaking about Kurukshetra. The place is a holy place. Dharma Kshetra. Shruti says, Kurukshetra Devam Yagyanam. Kurukshetra is a place of worshiping the Lord. Satapatha Brahma Madhyandini 14.112. So it describes Kurukshetra. It is a famous place which produces dharma. Only religious activities are done there, not irreligious. So when irreligious people gather there, what will happen? They will fail. So that's what the ending of the purpose say. That just like unwanted weeds are removed from a paddy field, the same way all the sons of Dhritarashtra headed by Duryodhana will wipe out. So this environment is not in their interest in the first place. Okay? And then it is famous as a place which produces dharma. Due to the association with this great place, the evil Duryodhana and company could give up their anger and take to the path of dharma. This is the doubt of the Dhritarashtra, because the Dhritarashtra was harboring 4 concepts. He was desirous of victory. for his sons to get the kingdom. But he was doubtful because of the possibility of his son's victory due to Kurukshetra, and then their irreligious, impious scheming, the rigging. Then he was fearful because Kurukshetra might influence his son to compromise. What does he mean by compromise? When they change, then they would choose not to fight. It means they have become purified by the holy place, and then they would choose not to fight. But on the other hand also, because the sons of Pandu are very pious people, the place will favor them, but the place may also turn the sons of Pandu to become very, very pious, over pious, that they will think, let us renounce all these things and leave the kingdom for our enemies so that there will be no bloodshed. So these are the four things that was going on. But it says in the Subodhini, the Dhritarashtra was partial to his own sons and separated his nephew, the Pandavas. So if you read in the earlier purport, it said they were of the same family, the Kuru dynasty. But because of their evil scheme, they divided the family. And in the world today, especially in African environment, this is very, very prevalent. One family become divided because of interest or because of want of some special benefit or to rule over or lead over the others. It is very prevalent. But then you can see from Bhagavad Gita that there are certain factors that will play in favor of certain people. And above all, because Krishna was there, if you read Bhagavad Gita chapter 4, text number 8, it said, Paritranaya sadunam vinasaya chaduskritam dharma samstapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna comes to give happiness to the devotees. That's why it's Bhakta Vatsala. And then Paritranaya sadunam vinasaya duskritam. All the demoniac forces of people, demoniac tendencies will be vanquished. Just like he said here, that the unwanted plants are taken out. As in a paddy field, the unnecessary plants are taken out. So it is expected from the beginning of this topic that in the religious field of Kurukshetra, where the father of religion is, Krishna, was present, the unwanted plants like the Dhritarashtra of Duryodhana and others will be wiped out. You get this? So, Vinasaya Chaduskrita, Dharma Samstapanataya. And he sets the principle, he reestablishes the principle of the religion. So that is where it ends. This is the significance of the word Dharma Kshetri and Kurukshetra, apart from their historic and Vedic importance. So you understand anything in this, you get the full gist from the purport and from the translation. And also you can understand the mind of the Dhritarashtra. Any comment? Although part 1 involves chapter 1 to
13.
11 or 13 as you may say, but 1 to 11. The first text is given prominence because that is the question. It's like the icebreaker for the whole discussion. What the Dhritarashtra asked, and he was asking Sanjaya. So from 2 to 11 will be updates by Sanjaya. Why was Sanjaya able to give updates? Can anybody remind us? We read it inside the purport there. The last part.
Hare Krishna, because he can envision what is happening miles away.
Okay, I was in one session. No, we were in a parikrama with Bhakti Damodara Maharaj in Vasana, and some of the contingents that came with us, we got to a point they lost the road. They went somewhere else, and then we continued with Maharaj. Then when we came back to join them, they told Maharaj of the ordeal, and Maharaj said, follow who no road. Okay? So Dhritarashtra is following who no road here. Is that clear? Is it significant? Dhritarashtra is following Sanjay because towards the end of the purport, he said that Sanjay was a student of Vyasadeva, and therefore, by the mercy of Vyasa, Sanjay was able to envision the battle of Kurukshetra even while he was in the room of Dhritarashtra. You see that? So there's this prayer, Mukankaroti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yakripato Mahamwande Si Guru Dinatarinam. By the mercy of the spiritual master, impossible things become possible. The blind man can count stars in the sky. The lame can climb mountains, and the dumb can speak louder than the orator. That is the nature of the mercy of the spiritual master. So Sanjay got the mercy of his guru, Vyasadeva. Apuva Prabhu, you are raising your hand, please.
Yeah, yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu. I want to ask you a question. You said that Sanjay was following he who knows road. Okay. And
Dhritarashtra is following. Dhritarashtra is following. Maybe.
Yeah, sorry. Dhritarashtra, sorry. Dhritarashtra was inquiring from Sanjay because he believed Sanjay knew the road. Okay. That's to say he had the vision. Now, what's the essence of following him when he could not adjust to, take the instruction of the authority? If he had listened to him, if he had listened to him, he would have now summoned his sons to withdraw, and then the whole thing would be. So I don't really think that he's following someone who knows the road, or whether he's playing politics there.
Only all of that combined, but follow this saying and use it as a referral for the people you find in the temple. Temple is a bona fide environment. Many people come to the temple, but many don't want to follow what is in the temple. Why? Because of conditioning. It mentions here that the Dhritarashtra was blind from birth. Then he used the word, unfortunately, he was also bereft of spiritual vision.
Yes.
So he has two deficiencies.
Yes.
So even when he encounters true knowledge, because of his conditioning, he will not find it easy to accept. But he's being used here as a template for anybody who is curious about spiritual life, how to make inquiries. Whether you follow or you don't follow is a different thing, but the saying is said, you must approach who knows if you want to know. And if you know and you don't use it, it is not the problem of who knows, it's your own problem. Do you understand? So, but what makes us not be able to, what makes us to be adamant? You can see it here, the 6 points that I mentioned, that Dhritarashtra, he was nursing victory. That is desire. He was desirous of the kingdom for his children. Okay, even when it was not right. So you can see that the 6 enemies, lust, anger, greed is this. There are 6 enemies. They are all living inside us. And unless we're able to take spiritual process properly, we will not be cleansed of these enemies. So he's desirous of what is not supposed to be desired. Then, because of wrong desire, he's doubtful about the possibility of his son's victory. Otherwise, if his legitimate desire, he should be able to be confident that they will win victory. So all these are our wrong desires, and they create fear. Our wrong desire create fear. We start doubting. We start thinking of a security for the future. And then we cannot take this simple bona fide process honestly. And so we will not gain what happened, what we are due for. And he was also fearful of the place Kurukshetra, that he might influence his sons, because they may get there and get purified. He is not in the battlefield. His desire has not changed, but Kurukshetra can change his children. You understand? And they will say, okay, we don't want the kingdom again. The Kurukshetra also can influence the Pandavas that they will become so saintly. Okay, why should people die because we want a kingdom? And all of this happened. Okay? So, yes, because the Dhritarashtra is not able to follow does not change who knows. It's just that we have to culture the right attitude, which is what Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita. Tadvidi pranipatena, pranipasena sevaya. Approach one who knows. Inquire from him submissively and render service. He's making inquiries, but he's not ready to serve. So the consequence will come. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you.
All right. So we progress from text number 2 to 11. Duryodhana also in the battlefield nursed fear because their desire is not holy. It's unholy desire. What do you call it? Unwholesome, unwholesome rivalry. Unwholesome rivalry was going on. So he had fear also. But because he was diplomatic, he tried to cover his fear. And so he was making sure. So text 2 to 11 reads this. So please, we'll read text 2 to 11, and then we'll read the translation, and then see the number of purposes that we can cover to be able to understand it. But the gist is already clear. The purport to this text are Prabhupada's actual devotion. So you must read the purport to be able to get the full understanding. Apuva, you can lower your hand now since your question is answered.
Okay.
All right. So text number 2, Sanjaya commences his response or update. Sanjaya Uacha, this one to Pandava Nikam, Yudam Duryodhana Stada, Acharyam Upasangamya, Raja Vachanam Abravit. Govinda, please read the translation.
Hare Krishna. Oh, King, after looking over the army arranged in military formation by the sons of Pandu, King Duryodhana went to his teacher and spoke the following words.
So you can see that he got intimidated by the arrangement of the Pandavas military arrangements. He was intimidated. So that aroused first fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the mind of Duryodhana. Okay, take note of this. What he saw shocked his imagination. Even though he has collected Krishna's army that are strongest soldiers in the world, but when he saw the format of the arrangement in the battle of the military strength of the Pandavas, he became jittery. So he ran to his guru. That's the first feedback Sanjaya gave to Dhritarashtra. Text number 3. Pasyai tampandu putranam acharyam mahatim chamum vyudam drupada putrena tavasisyena dimata.
Oh, my teacher, behold this great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupada.
Beautiful. So we'll read this purport number 3 later, or let us finish the up to text 11. Then we'll read translation. And this text number 3 will help us to understand the fear and why Duryodhana resorted to diplomatic statements. Okay? Text number 4. Atra sura mahes asa bimajuna samayudi Yuyudano viratecha Drupadascha maharata. Next.
Here in this army are many.
Go ahead.
Here in this army are many men, equal in fighting to Bhima and Arjuna, great fighters like Yuyudana, Virata, and Drupada.
Text number 5. Drista ketus chekitana. Kasirajascha viryavam. Uruje kuntibojascha. Saibyascha narapungavaham. Bhavananda Prabhu. Bhavananda Prabhu, please read. If you are alert, you should be standby. It's not that it takes time. Okay? Bahulaswa Pritidas. Since it's not ready, please read. Bahulasya.
Okay.
Bahulasya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Go ahead, read. Translation.
There are also growing powerful fighters like the Dristaketu, Chikitena, Kasira, Puruje, Kuntibo, Sabia.
Thank you. Text number 6. Yuda Mayus Chabi Kranta, Utamo Jas Chaviryavan, Subhadra Drupadi Yascha, Sava Eva Maharata. Is Bhavananda ready now?
There are the very powerful Uttamaja, the sons of Subhadra, and the sons of Draupadi. All these warriors are great chariot fighters.
Text number 7. Asma kantu visistaye tani boda dwijotama nayaka mamasai yasya samnatam tam bravin mite.
But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
Sure.
Number 8. Bhavam Bhishmascha Kanascha Kripascha Samitimin Jaya Aswatthama Vikranascha Somadatis Tataivacha. Next.
There are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwatthama, Vikarna, and the sons of Sumadata called Birishwara, who are always victorious in battle.
Number 9. Anyecha Bahabasura Madate Tyaktva Jivitaha Nana Sastra Praharana Savayuda Visarada.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons, and all are experienced
in military science.
Number 8. Bhavam Bhishma Chakanascha.
No, number 10. 10. Number 10.
10.
Yes.
Victorious in battle. Okay. Number 10. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam Bhishma biraksitam paryaptam twa idam itdesam balam bhima biraksitam.
Our
strength is measured. Yeah.
But we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited.
Yes. 11.
And number 11. Aya nesucha sabesu yata bagam avastita Bhishmam eva biraksantu bhavanta sava evahi.
All of you must
now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
Very good. Can we read the purport to text number 3? Purport.
3. Yes, we can.
Go ahead.
Purports. Jordan, go ahead now. The master may go ahead.
Purport. Duryodhana, a great diplomat, wanted to point out the defects of Dronacharya, the great Brahmana commander-in-chief. Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupada, the father of Drupadi, who was Arjuna's wife. As a result of this quarrel, Drupada performed a great sacrifice, by which he received the benediction of having a son who would be able to kill Dronacharya. Dronacharya knew this perfectly well, and yet, as a liberal Brahmana, he did not hesitate to impart all his military secrets when the son of Drupada, Drishtadyumna, was entrusted to him for military education. Now, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Drishtadyumna took the side of the Pandavas, and it was he who arranged for their military phalanx. After having learned the art from Dronacharya, Duryodhana pointed out this mistake of Dronacharya's so that he might be alert and uncompromising in the fight. By this, he wanted to point out also that he should not be similarly lenient in the battle against the Pandavas, who were also Dronacharya's affectionate students. Arjuna especially was his most affectionate and brilliant student. Duryodhana also warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. So if you look at the purport, you find three things to note. Duryodhana feared internally seeing the Pandavas' army. But being political, he hid his fear. He had fear, he hid the fear.
History.
By showing that he had come personally out of his respect to Guru. Okay, take note of this. He was afraid, he was intimidated, that's the real word, seeing the arrangement of the army of the Pandava. But he hid it, and he came to his Guru as if he's coming to make inquiries, but he was actually coming to intimidate the Guru. He came to intimidate Guru. Why? He reminded the Guru of his enmity with the father of the captain of the Panda, Drishtadyumna, is the son of Drupad. Okay? So to awaken anger in him. And Duryodhana points out to Dronacharya for liberally imparting the military secret to Drishtadyumna, despite knowing that he was born to kill him. Duryodhana wanted Drona not to be similarly lenient in the battle with the Pandavas, his affectionate students. You see, he's intimidating the Guru. He's making him, don't play. Don't play. You have to be serious with this. Because already you started with one mistake. You know this person will kill you. But he taught him everything. He didn't reserve. But that is the mind of a Brahmana. A Brahmana is very truthful. Okay? And even Shastri, because they are twice born, they do same. When the little Brahmana, Singhi, caused Parikit. Parikit as the king had all the power in the world to reverse the course and leave. But he took it as providential arrangement and he allowed the Brahmana. So those are two instances where people had knowledge that they will die, but they did not retaliate, they did not change the course of providence because they want the best thing to happen for everybody. Okay? So the third thing to note is Duryodhana wanted to anger Drona, wanted to provoke him by revealing the disrespect of the Pandavas who arrogantly came with their army, not considering Drona's exalted position as a teacher and a warrior, Also, by addressing Dhristadyumna as the son of Draupad, he wanted to remind Drona of his previous enmity with Draupad. Okay, so let us read the purport to text number 10 and 11, the last purport, 10 and 11.
10 and 11. Okay. Translation. I read translation.
No, just read the purport. We have read translation already.
Okay, sorry. The purport. Herein an estimation of comparative strength is made by Jordana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general, Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Jordana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained.
All right.
Purport
So you
11.
can see, Papa 11, go ahead.
Duryodhan, after praising the prowess of Bhishma, further considered that others might think that they had been considered less important. So in his unusual diplomatic way, he tried to adjust the situation. In his
Yeah.
usual diplomatic way, he tried to He tried to adjust the situation in the above words. He emphasized that Bhishma Dev was undoubtedly the greatest hero, but he was an old man, so everyone must especially think of his protection from all sides. He might become engaged in the fight, and the enemy might take advantage of his full engagement on one side. Therefore, it was important that other heroes not leave their strategic positions and allow the enemy to break the phalanx. Duryodhana clearly felt that. Okay, bro. Okay.
Continue.
Okay, Duryodhana clearly felt that the victory of the Kurus depends on the presence of Bhishma Dev. He was confident of the full support of Bhishma Dev and Dronacharya in the battle because he well knew that they did not even speak a word when Arjuna's wife, Draupadi, in her helpless condition, had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to appear naked in the presence of all the great generals in the assembly. Although he knew that the two generals had some sort of affection for the Pandavas, he hoped that these generals would now completely give it up as they had done during the gambling performances.
Beautiful. So you can see here that this very segment, 2 to 11, was captured as Duryodhan's fear and diplomacy in describing the armies. He had fear, he hid the fear, and he became diplomatic in approaching his guru and Bhishma Dev. Now, at the end of the purport, he mentioned that he knew that they did not speak when Draupadi was being tried to be derobed. But they did not like it, they did not speak. And that reservation, if they bring it to the battlefield, it can be sold out. So he made the two of them. He aroused their anger. He kind of chastised them indirectly. And then he played diplomacy. You see how he was jostling from this pillar to the other pillar. And when he wants to speak, he also is very knowledgeable. He was addressing his guru and he was describing the generals that are there. He wanted to address Bhishma before his guru, Dronacharya, who is a Brahmana. But because he knows the etiquette of Varnashram, he mentioned Dronacharya first because Brahmanas are giving recognition before Kshatriyas. But he did it so diplomatically that it could not be visible. So you see, there's a lot of diplomacy the guy played here. And if you don't study thoroughly, you'll not be able to catch up. So the things to note in text number 10 and 11 are these. Duryodhana considered the others might feel less important as he praised Bhishma. So he diplomatically raised that Bhishma, although the greatest hero, was old and need protection from everyone. See, this is also diplomacy. And Duryodhana was confident to the full, confident of the full support of Bhishma and Drona in the battle because they did not speak when Draupadi had appealed to them for justice while she was being forced to appear naked. So you can see what he's doing with diplomacy. And after speaking, what did Bhishma do? He did all his diplomacy, but he forgets that Bhishma Dev himself, Bhishma Dev, was taken to the heavenly kingdom. Please unmute, please mute that unmuted line. He was taken to the heavenly kingdom and taught all aspects of administration. All aspects. So whatever came to Duryodhana is playing, Bhishma knows. Bhishma also, because he's a devotee, please mute yourself. The sound is disturbing the class, please. So he knew all what was going on, but his response was to blow conch shell. Okay? Bhishma blew conch shell first. After Duryodhana finished all his diplomacy, all his manipulation and the intrigues, the response he got from Bhishma Dev was blowing of conch shell. So if we go to text number 12 and 13, then Bhishma Dev blew his conch shell loudly, making sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy, though simultaneously he knew that they were going to lose the battle. Okay? So can we read text number 12 now and 13? The next segment contains 12 to 19. If we cover this segment today, we'll continue next Saturday from Arjun requesting to see the soldiers in the battle, which is part 2 of this very chapter. And if we're able to finish that on Saturday, I think we are progressing very healthily. So text number 12 to 19. But before 12 and 19 is 12 and 13. Okay? 12 and 13, there's something to note there. So text number 12. Tasya Sanjayanayam Tasya Sanjayanam Hasan Kuru Vrida Pitamaha Simha Nadam Vinadyo Chai Shankam Dadmo Patapavam. Apuva, read it.
Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandchild of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
That was also Bhishma Dev's own diplomacy. Duryodhana wanted to be given confidence. He wants to feel joy. But he already had fear inside him that this journey may not be feasible as we think. So Bhishma Dev, to stimulate him, blew conch shell. And things to note, text number 13. These two are combined. Okay? Tata Shankascha Yascha Anavana Kagomuka Sahasaiva Vyahanyanta Sada Sabde Tumolo Babat. Translation again.
After that, disconscious drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
So in the first text, he said he wanted to give joy to Duryodhana. So the thing to note in these very two texts was Bhishma Dev announced prediction. Bhishma, without saying a word, blew the conch shell, informing his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory. You see that? He did not speak, but by blowing his conch shell, he made him know. This is also his own diplomacy, okay? Because the Supreme Lord was on this other side, but still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Whether he gain or he lose, he's not going to feel any pain, because both the Pandavas and the Kauravas are all his grandchildren. Okay, so did you get something there? That is thing to note. Bhishma,
Yes.
though he blew his conch shell first, but it was a silent response to Duryodhana. Okay, so let us take 15 and 16 also. That is the blowing of conch shell from the other side, which is a confirmation of the mindset of Bhishma. On the other side, Panchajayam Rishikeso Devadatam Dananjaya Pundram Dharmo Mahashankam Bhima Kama Vrikodara. Translation.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchanjaya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Pundra.
Very good. Text 16 to 18. Combined. Ananta Vijayam Raja Kunti Putro Yudhishthira Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosha Manipushpako Kasya Cha Parameswasa Sikandi Cha Maharata Drishtadyumna Viratascha Satyaki Cha Parajitam Drupado Drupade Yascha Savasa Prithivipate Subhadrascha Mahabahu Shankan Dharmo Pritak.
King Yudhishthira,
the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Ananta Vijay and Nakula and Sahadev blew the Sugosha and Manipushpaka. That great Asha, the king of Kashi, the great fighter, Sikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
Okay, please take note here that this blowing of conch shell is very significant. In your exams, you may be asked, I'm not foretelling anything, what are the names of different conch shells that were blown? Bhishma's conch shell and other conch shell were not mentioned because it amounts to no victory. But the conch shell that blew victory, they delineate them. 6 are mentioned very clearly, others are not very much sounded. But the 6 are, Lord Krishna's conch shell name is what?
Panchanjaya.
Panchanjaya. And Arjun's conch shell is Devadatta.
Devadatta.
And Bhima's conch shell is Pundra. Yudhishthira's conch shell is Ananta Vijaya. And Nakula's conch shell is Sugosha. And Sahadev's conch shell is Mani Pushpaka. So the note here, Krishna is called Rishikesh here because he's the owner of all senses. He directs the senses of all living entities in terms of their surrender. Here in the battle, he directly controlled the transcendental senses of Arjuna. This is the main work that Krishna did in battlefield. And we will see that from after the next two segments. Krishna became in charge. Even though he's doing menial service, but he became in charge. Arjuna is called Dhananjaya because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to conduct different sacrifices. Bhima is called Vrikodara because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks, such as killing the demon Hidimba. So text number 19, we have read up to 18, and 17 and 18, what to note in 17 and 18 is that Sanjaya informed Dhritarashtra very tactfully by the words, Divyo Shanku in 114. Further by speaking the next verse, that the sign already clearly indicate that the whole Kuru dynasty will be killed in the great battle, and his unlawful policy to deceive the Pandavas wasn't very laudable. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy following his sons. Meaning, it wasn't Dhritarashtra, but he approved of what scheming Duryodhana was making. He approved of it. And then in the end, he's the one asking, what is the outcome? Meaning, he had no clear stance. He was only led by his unwanted desire. Okay, so text number 19, we read, Sagoshoda tarastanam Ridyayani Vyadarat Yat Navascha Pritivinchaiva Tumoloabhya Nunadanam. Translation, please.
The blowing of these different conches became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
Read the purport. Read the purport.
Purport. When Bhishma and the sons of the and the others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conches, there was no heart-breaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Krishna, in Lord Krishna. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity.
Beautiful. So you can see what we took from the previous PowerPoint, calling Krishna Bhakta Vatsala. Krishna as what? Bhakta Vatsala. That will come. That will be the next thing we deal with. But this is an opening. Text number 19 is opening. The one who has Krishna, he has nothing to fear. It doesn't matter what becomes of you. As long as you have Krishna, victory is certain. And that is how Sanjaya, he ended Bhagavad Gita in 1878. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Pato Danodara, Tatra Sivijayo Bhuti, Dhruvaniti Matimama. This is my opinion. Wherever there is Krishna and there is Arjuna, there will be extraordinary power, morality, victory, and opulence. This is my opinion. That is what Sanjaya said to end Bhagavad Gita. But you can see this text now. The thing to note is Pandava's confidence is in Krishna. Text 19. The sound of the conches of Bhishma and others on the Duryodhana side did not cause any heartbreaking for the Pandavas. One who takes shelter of Lord Krishna has nothing to fear, even in the midst of greatest calamity. Okay? So we come to this end of the first unit, which is why did Bhishma Dev not reply in words? This is what PowerPoint 11 is making us know. After signs of victory, why did Bhishma Dev not reply in words? Text PowerPoint number 9. Indirectly, are you seeing the screen? By the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson, Duryodhana, that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection, as in the end of the purport. So, with this, we come to the end of today's session. And if there are questions, please open up. We'll continue from the part 2 of this very chapter next Saturday. If you have questions or comments or contribution, please indicate by raising your hands, and you'll be allowed to share your views. Hare Krishna. No hands raised. Are we here or we are somewhere else?
We are here, Prabhu.
Okay.
We are here.
Did you learn anything from?
So,
yeah. Comments, questions.
The lecture is very interesting, and we are digesting it. So that's why there may not be much questions. It's very, you are really on point.
Thank you. But are you all learning something? Is the course worth it or not?
Yes, Prabhu, it's worth it.
Prabhu, it's worth it.
And
it's worth it.
Okay, that is a good update. And
what is
please,
like we have not even read Bhagavad Gita before.
Amazing.
It's like we are reading it afresh.
Okay, that is the whole purpose. That's what Prabhupada meant in that first purport. Once you read the Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly, Prabhupada said that in the first purport. So you have read Bhagavad Gita, but you didn't scrutinize it. Now you are scrutinizing. You know, you are bringing out whatever is in the intestine of Bhagavad Gita. This should be the mood you maintain. This is the mood you should maintain. Is my little request. And to be able to get this, I have left spaces in the purports, and so that you can fill in the gap. If you don't read, you cannot fill in the gaps. I did not read every purport. I only took essential purport that is worthy of notes. On your own, please read through again and read the purports and take notes. Okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
I've given you 2 tips in today's session. The first tip is from text 1. Why did Dhritarashtra ask questions? He was desirous that his son get the kingdom. That's number 1 note. Number 2, he was doubtful of the possibility of his son's victory. Number 3, he was fearful. Still in number 4, he was hopeful that the holy influence, that under the holy influence, the Pandavas may renounce the claim to avoid bloodshed. So these are the first 4 points I gave you. Okay?
Please, can you take it again? Please. Please.
Dhritarashtra was desirous that his sons get the kingdom. So he's expecting them to be victorious. But even with that desire, he was doubtful of the possibility of his son's victory because they were virtuous, sinful people. They were sinful. Actually, when I was preparing for this, I just saw them like in Bhagavad Gita chapter 16, Krishna mentioned there are two kinds of entities, the divine and the demoniac. The Pandavas had virtue and the Kauravas were like demons. Okay? That's the first point. And in that demoniac tendency, still the Dhritarashtra desired victory for them to get the kingdom. But he was doubtful. Okay? Then number 3, he was fearful. Desirous, fearful, doubtful, and at last, he was hopeful. He was hopeful.
That is hoping against hope.
Beautiful. Okay. Then the second tip was the names of the conch shells. There were many conch shells blown, but emphasis was given on 6. Panchanjaya, Devadatta, Pondra, Anantavijay, Sukosha, and Manipushpaka.
Manipushpaka.
Okay.
Wow.
So on this note, and if there are no further questions, we will have to end the class, but first by chanting very loudly. Nama Om. Everybody, unmute yourself. Everybody. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Dinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurapani Pracharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pasachai Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Advaita Gadadara Shiva Bhakta Vrinda. Very loudly. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Panchakapatarubhyascha kripa Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinde ki.
Jai.
Thank you very much. See you next Saturday.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
His Grace Prabhu Ganga ki.
Jai. Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Haribo.